Ladies and gentlemen, we are back talking Scottish football, and Div's back. Div, you're back, mate. I feel like we should put
I'm
up
back,
that Ian Wright meme. You know when he meets his old school teacher. That should be like the thumbnail for this video.
I was in Turkey, wasn't I, getting the Barnet done?
I know I'm away over there
That's
next,
where I've
mate.
been.
Just fucking struggling. It's a weird one because fucking everyone just keeps asking for you, and I think like I was like to Ryan, we should just start like a big drama and just say we've like there's been a massive fallout, and we're gonna get like celebrity boxing, and just have like fucking boxing matches. That is YouTube content at its best, isn't it? So, but no, we've fucked that and we've just gone for it. We've got Devin Kennedy. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, thank you, mate. Yeah, you must be well chuffed. What a result for Fife's finest at the weekend.
I know, mate.
I mean, that was some win for Wraith Rovers over Motherwell in the cup, wasn't it?
Aye, too far, mate. That's too far. All right. There's only one Fife team worth talking about this weekend. That was us, but we'll come to that. You two boys were open goal last night, so you know, bigger and better things. Leaving me just on my own up in the Highlands. Div, you've moved on.
Well, it was the night before last, was it? No, was it last night?
Oh, I can't remember, mate.
No, it was Monday night. That's right. It was Monday night. Last night was Valentine's night. Come on.
Oh, exactly. Aye, we were up to other things last night.
That's why last night didn't ring a bell with me. Didn't ring a bell with me whatsoever. Like I had no idea what was going on last night.
No, but it was good. It was up at Drygate. That's the second time we've been now. The first one was in Bath in Glasgow, and the venue was actually a lot bigger. So that one was a bit smaller, but it was a wee bit more rowdier. So obviously people see it when it starts. I start talking, the guy behind me just starts giving it big licks, like. Know what I mean? But we recovered, didn't we?
Well, you know, you are absolutely professionals at this game. Kennedy's been on more podcasts than fucking anyone. I mean, like he's an absolute legend at this game now. Before we jump into the more, I mean, we've got loads to talk about. When I actually came up with what was in the show, I thought actually there's quite a bit to talk about. But Dev, I want to go to you because you've not been on for a wee while, and since last time we spoke to you, you've got a new manager at Rangers now. I mean, what a job he's doing! Then Nicola Sturgeon shat it for Michael Beale and everything now. You know what a job he's doing, Big Mick Beale. Dev, what are you saying to it?
I know he's been excellent. Obviously, not every performance has been exquisite. The best performance, obviously, coming against Adams. Look,
I was waiting on that.
And we're hoping to obviously kick on for that and continue the performances, which hasn't really materialised in that way, but the results are still coming in. 11 wins in 12 games, 1 draw. That was coming against Celtic at Ibrox, where they scored the 87th, 88th minute or whatever, so that could have been another victory. But as I said, you know, the performances haven't always been right up there, but he's only had one window. He was only able to bring in 2 players as well. And I think when he came in at Rangers, we were so far behind in terms of fitness, and it's going to take us a while to get to the levels that I think Michael Beale wants us to get to. I think it's hard to get to a certain level of fitness within a season, if you get me, because you can't absolutely hammer the boys because they've got a game every few days. But obviously they are getting a lot fitter, and performances have been a whole lot better as well. So it's very much more positive now that Michael Beale is in the building, for sure.
It couldn't have gone much better. I mean, I suppose the only annoying thing is if he had got through that Old Firm game and got the 3 points. But again, I mean, he has done very, very well. But again, Adam, we've talked, you know, we've done a few shows recently. It kind of just proves just how good a job Celtic are doing as well. That Rangers have been almost flawless, but yet the gap is just remained the same.
I know, because Celtic have dropped points in 2 matches so far this season, and we're in February. Like, that is just a joke.
It's ridiculous.
But I think the most encouraging thing that Dev will probably take, and most Rangers fans, is I know that Michael Beale's worked with some of the squad before, but he's only added Raskin and Cantwell so far. So it'd be intriguing to see what happens. I know that obviously there's a plethora of players that will have their deals up come the end of the season. I don't know what door's available. It obviously depends on if Rangers can get back into the Champions League or what have you. But I think they're in something of a transition, and the fact that they're able to pick up these early results is very encouraging, because when he gets his own players, then we'll see exactly what happens.
Yeah. No, you're Diff.
I think in the first month or whatever that Beale was in the job as well, he had some really difficult fixtures. He had to go away to Pataudry. where they got like the last gasp winners. They had Hibs as well, which I know Hibs weren't in the greatest of forms at the time, but Nisbet was just back. They've obviously had Celtic quite recently as well into his tenure, and then they had Tynecastle as well. So they've had a lot of difficult games, and he's managed to come through relatively unscathed. So I think that's a good sign for the future for sure, because even if you go back to his first game, his centre-back partnership was John Lundstrom and Big James Sands. So injuries were a factor at the start as well, and knew that players like Goldson obviously came back quite relatively soon, but knew that players are coming back in. Yanis Hadji, for example, started against Partick Thistle and the likes. It can only get better, I think.
Yeah, we might as well come on to the Partick Thistle game, because obviously there was one big talking point that came out of it. I think, to be honest, even I'm glad that it ended up not being a defining thing, because had it been, it's something that you'd never ever have heard the end of it. Dev, I'm assuming you were at the game, were you?
No, I was actually working, mate.
Oh, well, okay, that's fine then. But I was gonna. You don't miss many, to be fair, so I just assumed you'd be there. I was watching it on my phone. I was traveling back from Glasgow, and I literally turned it on just as Tillman had scored, and I was like, "What the fuck's going on?" And then you see what happens. But yeah, Dev, it seemed to have split the Rangers support a little bit in terms of like people who thought he did the right thing, or people who just thought he should have told him where to go. What did you make of it?
No, obviously I've seen the game back since, and that moment in particular was one that sparked up a wee bit of controversy. And it was like it was one of those things that I think will probably never happen again. Like in terms of Tillman's the guy who gets fouled, he's down holding his ankle, he doesn't see what's happening in the play, the ball gets kicked to it. By the time he's back up, the ball's back in play, he's none the wiser, he just goes to press. But obviously Thistle are going to clear it, takes the ball off him, scores, and then just all hell breaks loose. So I don't think that you'll probably ever see hitting like that again. Like most of the time when somebody plays on after they're supposed to give the ball back, every player knows what's happening kind of thing, and they just decide, fuck it, we're not doing it, we're not giving them the ball back. But obviously Tillman didn't have a clue. So he just went ahead and scored. I liked what Beale said after it, obviously. But he didn't want that to be hanging over Tillman, because since he's come in, Tillman has been just fantastic. I mean, we've seen glimpses of it at the start of the season, but since he's come in, he's really getting the best out of him. So you know what the headlines would have been if Rangers had went through on that goal. They would have went for the boy. They would have went for him. So I'm kind of glad they've done it in a way. It's never nice, is it? Just letting a team run up and score.
No,
but
McGregor did not want that to happen at all, did he? Like,
I know. I didn't get that from McGregor, because obviously the full team was like, it reminded me a wee bit of Leeds.
Janssen.
And the big centre-half's just chasing the guy.
Yeah.
The rest of the team's letting him run through, and he's just like, nah, this isn't happening. A wee bit like that. But obviously they still get the win at the end of the day, so you're not... Maybe if the Thistle had went and won the game, people would have been absolutely outraged. But I was a wee bit just like, I don't really care, because still won the game.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the thing. I think if it had been a defining moment, it would be fucking... I mean, it'd be a court case, and wouldn't be a shambles. I don't know about you, Kendall, right? But there was a little part of me that thought I didn't have much sympathy for Kevin Holt, because that first touch is absolutely
criminal. It's an absolute shocker.
He invites it on himself, doesn't he?
He does. And Tillman also does take the piss before he rolls it into the net.
Sorry, Adam, my man. I've got a theory that Tillman actually thought that the fucking first touch was the clearance back to the team. Is that bad?
Thought it was a free kick or something. Like it was a
he thought that was the letter, I think, back into Rangers. Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, it did raise the old debate though, like what if that was an Old Firm game, would they have done the same thing? All I could think of was thank fuck it wasn't, because it would have been like World War III.
There's clips that came out afterwards where
I've seen that.
Rangers done it in the cup final against Celtic, and Celtic done it against Rangers as well in a league game as recent as the last couple of years, like where they didn't give them the ball back. So I guess it just depends on the context. I
also thought of Motherwell scoring at Parkhead as well, with the boy.
Oh yeah,
Aribe scores a rebound after it's parried out, and you just hear all of Parkhead going absolutely tonto.
Did they let Celtic go up the other end that time? Did they?
No.
No, I don't think so.
I remember Tierney being particularly raging. But it is one of them, like we did pet peeves a few weeks ago, but see when like a player goes down and you know there's fuck all wrong with him, it does my head in when you give the ball back.
The worst.
Like there's sometimes where I'm like, why are you giving the ball back? They're so obviously at it. That is definitely something that annoys me. But yeah, it was an interesting wee thing. Ian McCall was obviously pretty happy Michael Beale did the right thing. And literally when I was setting up this show, I completely forgot about Ian McCall getting the sack. And that's another mental thing. We might as well move on to that, Adam. I mean, like obviously I think it's been coming maybe a little bit. They've had some pretty hellish results recently, but the timing was ridiculous.
It has. I mean, I think in terms of recent results, we've had Cove winning at Firhill, also had Accies as well, I believe.
We should have won there in the cup.
But Thistle, like, they're not out the playoff race by any manner or means. I think this is just because the Motherwell has emerged, and you hear whispers that supposedly that could have been a move that Ian McCall was particularly interested in, but the timing is weird. And for me, I might get a bit of criticism for this, but I think if you were a Scottish manager looking to get back into the game, the Thistle job is far more appealing than the Motherwell job is right now for me.
But then you've got the issues at board level with Thistle, though, and that's been, there's been lots of talk about that. Apparently,
but Alan Burrows has left Motherwell, so they look like a sinking ship as well.
No, I completely agree with you, and that's why when we come on to that job later, I'm hoping James McPake tells them where to go if they come after him. But yeah, it's an interesting one. The one thing I think, it came out that basically Thistle had made up their mind beforehand, Dev. So what happens if Thistle go win at Ibrox? Do they still sack him?
I know what, mate. I think that's exactly what happened. I think they were expecting to go to Ibrox and just to basically get turned over, and then even though they put up a decent performance, and they were just still like, maybe they'll get somebody lined up, but you would imagine that they would maybe be in the door by this point.
Yeah, it's been
a few days yet, but it probably was bad timing from the club, because Thistle sold out their allocation, I'm sure. They were in good voice. I think they did a big fan march and everything like that to the game. So, and the fans were all applauding the team off the park at the end. So it was in a moment of cohesion. The board just went, fuck this, let's just all separate again, and they just get rid of him. But as Adam says, they are quite close to the playoffs still. So for me, I think it's a bit harsh.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, the league championship is always nuts, but I mean, Morton had a good result at the weekend. They're right banging in it again. But sometimes when you're going through a sticky spell, what you need is a cup performance like that. Going to Ibrox and actually showing, we're still fighting. That seemed like the perfect tonic, but obviously it didn't work out that way. Since we're doing managerial sackings, we might as well go to Motherwell. I don't know, but I took Rovers in the Cup Adam at the weekend. I was pretty confident they were going to turn over Motherwell.
29 to 10, I saw.
Very good odds.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wasn't sure they were going to sack him. I have to be honest. I think they had to, because I think if they didn't, it looked like curtains. They had to kind of roll the dice.
And the clue after the final whistle was no talking to the media at all.
Yeah,
Liam Kelly's interview was a strange one.
He was teary, wasn't
he? He was a bit teary. I was surprisingly teary, but then club captain as well. Does he shoulder most? To be honest, Liam Kelly's Motherwell's best player. I dread to think would they be without Liam Kelly in goal. So I don't know. It just something's not right at Motherwell. Like, again, the timing's weird because they've basically backed him in January. He's made something like 9 signings in January.
Is that right? Yeah.
And yet you give him till the second week in February to decide to then give him his jars. Just very, very odd.
Yeah, and the cup was kind of irrelevant for Motherwell Dev this season. They've just got to stay up somehow. I don't know about you, Dev, but we've talked about this recently. I really worry for Motherwell because I look at Dundee United and think they've got too much quality to finish bottom. So I think Motherwell could be in a real bit of trouble.
I think it looks like it's between the two of them, but I'm not in a good mood with Dundee United at all, because talking about the Cootums, I had Rafe Rovers on my Cootum and all, but do you know who done me for $1,000? Dundee United.
Is this like Stranraer all over again? Mine's Stranraer.
Oh, pretty much. So Stranraer, they're in the bin. They're forgot about Dundee United are the new kids in the block. So here's hoping Motherwell pull something out their sleeve. But I do worry for them. But again, it depends on who they bring in. But the squad doesn't look up to much at all, does it? Like,
no.
I feel bad for Stevie Hamill in a sense, because I feel like he's the right guy at the wrong time. He's obviously a Motherwell club legend, but that doesn't warrant results. Like, that have been happening. They backed him in January, yes. But like, who did they sign that really stood out to you? Nobody, for me anyway.
Callum Butcher's probably the standout signing, and that says it all to me.
Aye, but is he going to win you games of football?
Well, exactly.
I don't think so, but
he's a battler. That's the one thing you will say. But what I have said weirdly about Motherwell is they do try and pop it about a bit, which I find completely bizarre because they're in a bit of a spot now where you need to just kind of be, a bit more old-fashioned to just kind of try and get clean sheets and fucking counter-attack if you can.
But does that not back up Div's point, Dave, whereby if Kevin Van Veen doesn't step forward, who does step forward?
Well, no, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And when you don't have, if you don't have someone who's going to drag you through it, you need to just find yourselves, you need to become a tight unit, you need to stop losing games. And, defensively look at a shambles. Liam Kelly said himself, he's not been good enough. They're in a big spot. In terms of who comes in next, I had to laugh at them when I saw the BBC running with James McPake and Yogi Hughes as two who were touted for the job. Fucking mental. I mean, we literally woke up to the news McPake was being touted. And that would be gutted. But like, how can they look at the last jobs him and Yogi have done and fucking put them both up for it? It does scream Yogi Hughes though, doesn't it? Like, you could just send him in there. It'll be a disaster, but it'll be funny at least.
I just don't. I'd look at any of the names and I don't think any are particularly inspiring, to be honest. I mean, Jack Ross is probably the best out of bad bunch. Jim Goodwin, I think it's too soon to get back in. No, for me, too soon. And I don't think
it's last chance saloon for Jack Ross, no? Because if he goes in there and gets relegated, where the fuck does he go next?
Well, that's what I was meaning earlier on. Like, Jack Ross is probably eyeing up Partick Thistle more than he is Motherwell.
I would
given that he took
definitely say
St
so,
Mirren from the Championship and what have you. I really don't know because Ian McCall now is unavailable, so and unattached.
McCall?
Pass, no idea.
For me, I'm going to go a wee bit left field in a name that stuck out to me a wee bit. But there's two. I'm going to go down to the Championship. The first one.
You're thinking what I'm thinking.
Murray.
Owen Coyle.
No, Owen Coyle. Because I think he's got a good gig now at Queen's Park. But I think Ian Murray is a good manager. I think he's done his apprenticeship for sure. When you look at Sean Maloney, for example, getting the Hibs job and all that. Ian Murray's done a lot in management, probably more than he's done. So he started off at Dumbarton, came into them, done a decent job, kept them up, moved on to Airdrie. Now he's at Rafe. I know they're mid-table-ish and they're maybe no very inspiring, but I think he could go in and he could do a wee job. And then when you go up a few spots, I know there's a man that's done, I think, a fabulous job under limited resources in the Championship. And it's none other than Dougie Imrie. And I'm sorry to bring him back up, guys.
No,
but who would have anticipated...
It's not a bad show.
I know they've tailed off a wee bit, but who would have anticipated him getting in and doing what he's done so far with Morton? I think he's done excellent last season. I thought really good. Started the season off on fire as well. And why keep going round the merry-go-round Jim Goodwin, Jack Ross, or these guys? Why not promote?
They're not going to shell out on a manager, though, are they, mate? I can't see Motherwell giving either Morton or Wraith sufficient compensation for the two of them.
Yeah, absolutely. But this is what I said. Like, when McPake was linked, I immediately went, I don't think he'll go because it's a massive risk for him. When you're looking at Dunfermline and Motherwell, the way it's going are probably both going to be the Championship next season. And when they are, who would you really rather take over? I mean, Motherwell could struggle financially if they go down. Also, if he goes there now, it's a big job to save them, a really big job to save them now. Maybe if you go in before January, you've got a window yourself, but you don't. It's a big risk. Also for Motherwell, that's a massive risk. To go and get a young manager in now, I mean, what if he does go down? Do you then stick with him for the Championship? Yeah.
His last Premiership tenure was unsuccessful and whatever as well. So yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing. I think it's gonna be real.
I like your gaffer, James McPake. I really do. I like his mindset. I like the way he talks and stuff like that. But I think he's at a good level now because he's still a young manager. He's still a young manager. It looks like Dunfermline are going to get promoted and can go again with the feel-good factor in the Championship and continue learning his trade. If he goes up again to the Premiership and has another unsuccessful stint, that could maybe put him right back. So if I was him, I'd be staying at the Pars. And
if Dunfermline do go up this season, I mean, their objective next year is going to be to try and go up again, 100%. And that, they'll be fighting Motherwell for that if they do go down. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens. Obviously, another one. It feels like we've almost forgotten. Aberdeen are still without a manager as well. Dave Cormack released a statement today urging patience amongst the Dons fans, and they're going to get it right. Alan Burrows apparently is having a say, although he doesn't start officially until the 27th of this month.
Was that just Dave Cormack, or was that the rest of the football monitoring board as well?
Oh, Jesus Christ. I think they've been disbanded now, the football monitoring board. Alan Burrows, he doesn't start till the 27th, but he is having a say. Barry Robson will take the team again this weekend. You know, I know a few Dons fans who are now starting to think Barry Robson could be the man just to give it to. But I don't know what you did. That seems like a hell of a gamble.
Mate, I think that's who it's gone to, by the way. I think that's who it's gone to. I was looking at the bookies odds, and Chris Wilder's still in at number 2, even though I think he ruled his sell out the job. Yeah. Barry Robson's is a favourite. I think that's who they'll end up getting it, to be fair. But is that what Dave Cormack said? He said Burrows has got a say in this.
Yeah, that was the statement that came out today.
Burrows doesn't start 27. For Robson, he's trying to save Motherwell, right? He's trying to get them a new manager, but he's also staying in Aberdeen. How does that? He's getting the short end of the stick, and I think it's Motherwell probably because his new employers are probably taking precedence. So
I think two managers simultaneously. Brilliant.
I think he is still working at Motherwell. So yeah, that's a strange one. He's appointing 2 managers for 2 different clubs.
So Burrow's grafting a manager that he thinks is going to do a better job. I don't get it. Like
just lastly, I know we've been on to.
Is he talking to like the same guy? Is he going for a meeting with like Jack Ross or something for the 2 jobs? Like what?
He's measuring up to Aberdeen, but here take the Motherwell job.
He's doing double interviews. He's doing double interviews. Him and Dave Cormack, it's double dates. So like you got to remember, you've got Dave Cormack and Alan Burrows, and then you've got like fucking Jack Ross and I don't know Chris Wilder. It's like, right, who wants Motherwell? Who wants the Dons? Right, who wants the Dons?
It's like an auction. Yeah. He's like bloody. He's like Davy Martindale. He's got all the hats on. Talk about Davy Martindale. Is he a guy that you think could take the Aberdeen job?
Mate, why has he not been linked? I find it utterly mental that he's not been heavily linked for that job. He, for me, if I look at Scottish football, is the perfect fit for that job just now. The absolute perfect fit in every way.
Can't picture him leaving Livy. That's the thing.
Neither do I, because I think he still obviously owes them a lot. But, you know, he talked about a guy who can get a group going, who can make worse, players better, who can, really
limited resources and
Exactly. I mean, I just think, I say this to Ryan a lot recently, because of the character he is and everything that comes with Davy Martindale, I don't think we give him a fair enough crack at the whip in terms of, talking up the achievements of Livy. And I just think it's mental that he's not been heavily linked to that job. I cannot understand it at all.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I really like Davy Martindale, and I actually watched his recent interview on Open Goal. And
Christ, that's twice we've talked about him now. Speak up.
I know, yeah. Well, they did like your tweet earlier, so
they did.
Come on, but what was I saying there? People always say things like, "Why would he leave Livy? What? Because he's he gets all they say, this, that, and the next thing." But on that interview, he was a bit like, "Well, I would like that. See if I actually had a scouting team and I had this, I had that, could I be even better if I had more resources?" And at Livingston, his track record's no bad. Dykes, Big Nubo, the Jet, he seems to find them.
He absolutely does.
He seems to find them. So why no? If he went to a bigger club with a bigger budget, could he not succeed?
He also said about wanting to take Livy into Europe, though, and I feel like this is their best chance. What with Hibs and Aberdeen both currently in transition, they're only really scrapping it out with St Mirren, maybe Hibs to a lesser extent. But to me, I think Livingston are going to be like, I think they're.
I know, Adam, but I'm sorry if you're at Livingston and Aberdeen pick up the phone and offer you the job, you're going. I don't care.
No, but it's like you said, like. Think of what Livingston have done for him. I don't know. I can't see it, but if I was an Aberdeen fan, you're absolutely 100% right. I'd be putting Martindale forward for that job, without a doubt.
Think about what he's done for Livingston as well. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's probably the greatest ever manager.
Yeah, he is the greatest ever manager.
There you go.
Jim Leishman's up there, isn't he? Took him to Europe, didn't he? Won the cup. Good pass.
Then nearly went into admin, but it was a good laugh.
Right. Anyway, before we move on from manager chat, because there's one thing I forgot to mention when I was trolling through the BBC page earlier on. They had a rumor that Tommy Wright was the man Motherwell were going to identify. Well, why? I see, why? I don't get the I mean, what's he's not like? It's not like he's done really many bad jobs, has he? I mean, Kelly wasn't great. I'll give you that, but
Kelly was dire.
But St Johnstone was unbelievable. You're talking about a guy that was like second favourite for the Rangers job 5 years
ago. Does this not
right,
play into exactly? Does this not play into exactly what Div said earlier? This managerial merry-go-round.
But I'm not really convinced he's really been on it, has he? He's had like 2 jobs in the last.
St Johnstone and Kelly, yeah, fair. Well, put it this way: if Alan Burrows is interviewing him for both the Aberdeen and the Motherwell job, he's certainly more likely to get the Motherwell job than he is the Aberdeen. I feel like Aberdeen have got to go outside the box. Motherwell needs somebody to steady the ship, and to be honest, I don't know who is out there that could. I think they're doomed. I really do.
Yeah, so do I. Mark McGee, we'll get him back just to see what else he's going to do. Like he's obviously threatened to like go down to Scants and that last year, so wonder what he'll do this year.
The radiators are back on now.
I mean, Mark McGee, who to be fair took Motherwell to Europe, didn't he? So there's a good.
And Aberdeen, did he not?
Probably, yeah. Well, he was not the goal. He's like an Aberdeen legend, isn't he? To be fair to him, as a player. But yeah, a big dingus back would be a good laugh. Right, let's move on to the cup draw that was made. My football team chat up here was the Rangers fans are pissing themselves laughing when that draw came through. Rangers at home to Wraith Rovers in the next round, whereas Celtic travel to Tynecastle to face Hearts. And also Inverness play Kelly, and Falkirk obviously host Ayr United after their trouncing of Darvel. Adam, I'll come to you first because I said on the last show, I don't even think you were on, it might have been just me and Ryan, that Hearts were begging for an Old Firm quarter-final just to get one of Celtic or Rangers out of the way. Because I think, Hearts have got, should really be fancying themselves for a crack at the Cup. And what you would have wanted was to avoid the big two and for them to play each other. Couldn't have gone much worse, could it?
No, in terms of like worst draws, it probably goes Celtic away, Rangers away, Celtic at home. But there is that consolation whereby we don't have to play them in Glasgow. So
they have the full Roseburn stand as well for Celtic fans.
Oh, horrible. I'll just think of that Edward winner under Lennon. I think it was Lennon's first game back in charge.
That's right.
That was a horrible, horrible night. Look, it gives us our best chance of beating what I believe to be the current best team in the country. But am I confident in saying that we will? I don't know. But listen, if we are to go far and go one better than we have last year, 3 out of the last 4 years reaching the final, it's got to happen at some stage. Come on, we're knocking on the door, so why not now?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, Dave, but I was saying to Ryan in the last show that Hearts were great last year, but I think they've improved this year and they tend to win games now when they're not playing, when they're not at their best, they're grinding out results a lot more than they used to. They would have thought they might have to beat at least one of Celtic or Rangers, and we'll probably have to beat both, but you think they've got any chance of knocking Celtic out of the Cup at Tynecastle?
You never know. I think Hearts always stay relatively all right against Celtic. I mean, it's always kind of close. Celtic seem to, most of the time, first 30 minutes, absolutely blow Hearts out the water, score a couple of goals, then Hearts score, get chances in the second half. It seems to be relatively close. I mean, come on, if Celtic show up and they're at their best, then I think they will progress. But as you say, David, you've got to probably play one of them at some point. So why not play them now at home, in front of a packed Tynecastle, and when Lauren Shanklin's getting a penalty every other game, you just never know.
Yeah.
Says the Rangers fan from the past couple of years. I mean, seriously.
Oh, I love it.
You only lose your last game. You only lose your last game, and Big Shanks gets what? How many pens has he had this year, bro?
To be fair, in your last game, Tav fucked his penalty, didn't he? So
he's that sick of them, isn't he? This year, he's not been given that much this season, hasn't he?
But it was an interesting point that Div made, because I think I saw a stat today where it's like in the last 5 meetings between Hearts and Celtic at Tynecastle, the winners won it by a goal. So it does tend to be quite a close game. I just hope that it's like Angie's first league game and not, a couple of the other ones.
What you need is the first goal for me, Adam.
Yeah.
You need to score the first goal and then you give yourself every chance. I mean, I can remember last season as well. Was that in the league where Boyce missed a penalty?
Yeah, we're 2-0 down, and then Boyce scored, missed a pen, and that was the 2-1. Yeah,
that's Hattie's first game, I think.
You never know.
One off. I think it was O'Reilly's debut, and he was phenomenal that night.
But you're saying that though. But even if Hearts do get another goal, and this is the thing about Celtic just now, is it's not like they continuously come from behind. when you do look at the fact, they do
and
tend
crank
to
it
find
up a notch or two. I mean, you need only look at the weekend, like the players that they bring on. I mean,
the benches
crying
are
out loud.
disgrace, really.
Oh, the array of options that they've got is just an absolute joke. But you never know.
Anyway, we'll near the time we'll come back for predictions and stuff. But obviously, Dev, you've got to be happy with that draw. Rovers at home.
You've got to be, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a home tie. That's what you're wanting, you want a home tie, and it's against lower league opposition. So you would fancy Rangers big time.
Looking forward to Viaplay picking that one out for television coverage as well.
Oh, you know it as well. That'll be on the
Yeah.
telly. The one that really excites me is Erin Falkirk, because it means one of them are going to be playing at Hampden. So
wild. The fact that it could have been one of Ayr, Falkirk or Darvel is crazy.
Could have been an Ayrshire derby.
Did you any of you see the highlights of the game Elgin against Ayr?
No.
Elgin were unlucky.
Elgin were on fire, mate.
They were unlucky.
And then Ayr have scored the last minute equaliser and obviously battered them in extra time. But that'll be a good one.
Yeah. I mean, I did say before on the last show that I wanted to see a quarter-final tie between two lower league sides, just to see someone at Hampden. I mean, Inverness obviously probably had the result. Well, yeah, probably the result of the round. I would have said last time with their win at Levy. They faced Kelly. Yeah, I mean, for me, Falkirk Ayr. I mean, I fancy Ayr, but I mean, as long as those bastards are distracted, that suits me. I personally couldn't care less.
It's a win-win for you, mate.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they've got their mind the gap signs everywhere so they don't fall over. But yeah, I mean, Inverness Kelly, I would love to see Inverness in the semi-final, man. Just yeah, why not? I mean, I think it would be good. But you can just tell it's going to end up being like Ayr Kelly, though. That could be, you could have Ayr Kelly, Dave. You could have a proper Ayrshire derby, man. You could have an old family Ayrshire derby in the semi-final. That would
imagine that, Ayr Kelly and Rangers Hearts. That'd be fucking.
don't even tempt fate. But I went to a couple of Ayr Kellys last season, and I was blown away by how good that derby is. Like I genuinely was an outsider. I thought I'll go along.
It's not as good as Dunfermline Falkirk.
See what this is all about, but Dave, I was pleasantly surprised. The animosity and hatred. Oh, I tell you, it is rife.
When I went to Dunfermline Falkirk, man, what a day! Was not expecting it. Not expecting it. At Dunfermline end, it was at Falkirk. Dunfermline end was unbelievable. 2-0 Dunfermline.
I need to get myself onto one of those.
I can't say his name. Hippolyte. He scored the second half. Unreal, man. Very good.
He was ex-Falkirk as well, and he dived to win a penalty for Falkirk like the season before. We hated the bastard, and then he came and he was shite, but he scored against Falkirk in both games away from him. Yeah. So we'll move it on there. Where do we go next? Should we go to Airdrie, Adam? Should we go to Airdrie at the weekend? Because I think it's got to be discussed. Have either of you seen the highlights or anything like that? No.
I saw that. What was it? You were 3-0 down with 20 minutes to go.
No, it wasn't. No, we were 3-0 down.
3-0 down.
With about, I think, and that was about 61 or something like that. So here's the interesting thing, right? The first half, the Airdrie keeper gets booked for coming out, wipes out Lewis McCann. It was a clear booking. The second half, we're 3-0 down, and he comes out, catches the ball, rolls out of the box, and handles it outside the box. And we're all assuming, goalie handles it out of the box. It's a booking, second yellow, off you go, son. And he gives a free kick and he doesn't fucking book him. And at that point, I'm thinking, that's it. That's just not our day. If you're not getting them, fuck's sake. So I said to my mate Steve, I dragged along, right, let's go. I'm not staying. Fuck this. We're away 3-0. He was like, nah, we'll give it 10 minutes. I was like, okay. So then 5 minutes later, what even happens? Craig Whiting's in on goal, and Callum Smith handballs it in the box. Red card, penalty Dunfermline. 3-1, and I'm like, okay, come on. Maybe we'll nick a point out of this now. And then after that, it was like goal, we all settled down, goal, settled down again, and another fucking goal. And it was just the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life. Honestly, when you're at a game and you see something happen and you can't even process what you're watching at all, it was tremendous. It felt like a massive win. We were so bad in the first half. I was literally like McPake. I think it made a total arse of it. But yeah, we got
that tweet.
I was like, what did I say? He's absolutely shat it, killed us with those subs. But you know what? I stand by every word of that, because at 2-0 down, he made 1-0. He made 2 subs in the first half, and we were fucking dreadful after that. Like before that, we were kind of in the game, And then we were just awful after that. I mean, there's no doubt the red card is the changing point, depending.
I was going to say, it is mad how sometimes all it takes is that one little lifeline just to galvanise the troops and then get you going. But that is a phenomenal result, considering there's a bit of needle between Airdrie and Dunfermline as well.
Well, that's the other story I've got to tell you, right? So I'm up in Airdrie beforehand for the pre-match pints, and a boozer up the top of Airdrie. Just went up to meet a couple of mates, and they'd got their bus through from Dunfermline, got dropped off at the pub, and as they get dropped off, like this car goes past and just shouts out, "Oh, I used Dunfermline," and the guy, he was like, "Right, we'll see you soon." And we're like, didn't think anything of it, right? Sitting there having a pint, a few sing-songs. Next minute, my mate Stevie was kind of meet me. He just texts me and he's like, "Dave, get out of there." And I'm like, "What the fuck's going on?" And as I read the text, the fucking windows start getting panned in. There was like a fucking 20 Airdrie fans and like balaclavas that had turned up for a scrap, trying to pan in the windows to this pub. It was just fucking hilarious.
They have their Trump flag with them.
No, but that was at the game. I did see that.
Oh God, I'll never forget that in that away end at Tynecastle for as long as I live. Jesus,
so that was a good laugh. And the interesting thing is we play Airdrie at home this coming weekend, so that'll be very, very tasty.
So how did that end?
So they were trying to get into this pub, right? But the wee barmaid, just one wee woman, was standing at the door, and like they obviously didn't want to fight that much because they couldn't get around this one wee woman who was just standing there. And then the police stood up and they legged it, and that was the end of it. But I was just like, so as soon as it happened, I was like, I'm fucking out of here. I'm taking nothing to do with this whatsoever. I'll like happily admit to being the biggest shite bag in the world. I wanted nothing to do with it. So it was a good laugh, and they'd have been absolutely fuming at the end. Final thing I'll say is, imagine being a Falkirk fan, checking your flash scores on Saturday and seeing Dunfermline 3-0 down, thinking the gap will be closed, and then they win 4-3. So 7 points clear, and that's one of the toughest games left at the road. So I'm feeling good.
Is that you tied on games now as well?
Yes. So 7 points clear, no games in the hand for anyone. We've got to play Falkirk twice, and still got to play Airdrie twice as well. But yeah, feeling good.
Tasty.
Yeah, absolutely. League One continues to just be absolutely sensational. So, on that subject, I like my inspired subjects. Last week, obviously, we had Stephen Humphrey's goal, which inspired our Wonder Goal topic. Dev, I'm going to go with you for that, just because I know it won't take much thinking, but Wonder Goals, best you've seen in the flesh.
Oh, best I've seen? Baz McKay at Hampden was up there. That was up there. For what it meant as well, that game, that was incredible, man. The scenes were unbelievable. So I've got to say that. Barry McCall!
That was a cracker. This week we asked the viewers about the best comeback they've ever seen in the flesh, ideally, was what I was going for. Kendra, you're struggling with this, so I'll come back to you in a bit, will I?
Yeah, go for it. I'm toiling a little bit here.
So when I do these, I really love the niche shouts that come out of nowhere. So I got one from Scott D200 who said East Kilbride versus Rangers B last season. East Kilbride were 1-0 down for most of the game and they had 10 men. And they managed to come back and win 2-1. But obviously 2-1 from 1-0 down is not a massive comeback, but with 10 men, that's pretty impressive. What else we've got? There's a Hearts fans coming one here, Adam. It looks like a derby from like maybe the 90s. Hibs were 4-2 down going into injury time. And
the ultimate Hibs dip before Hibs dip became a thing. Yeah, Graham Weir, 2 goals in injury time, 2002. I think that was my first season following Hearts. And I went...
What age are you?
No. 4 years old.
Jesus, there's no way you can remember that.
Brainwashed at 4. I remember my first game, but that's about it. Nothing else from that season, and that fixture was included in it.
6-year-old is the first thing I can remember.
So there you go.
But yeah, that one came up from a Hearts fan. Another one, Andrew Forlering comes in with another niche one. It was a Scotland under-21s game in Perth about 20 years ago. He says, we were trailing Lithuania 2-0, needing a win to make the playoffs of the Euros. Typical cheating from Lithuania. It's like same old Alloa chat, isn't it? But 3 goals in the last few minutes took Scotland through. He thinks they lost to Croatia in the playoffs. What else have we got? There was a Rangers fan who Braga at home. That came up.
That's mine.
Yeah. Go on, you take it away then.
That's mine, obviously. Round of 32, Europa League. Adam did mention in the chat Scott Arfield's at Pataudry recently. That would have been it probably if I was there, but obviously I wasn't. So Braga, round of 32, they rock up. Incredible in the first half. Absolutely sensational. I'm sure they go in at 1-0. They've got the boy Trincao up front.
Trincao was an absolute joke.
Oh, mate, what a joke. He just signed a pre-contract, I think, or an agreement with Barca.
Yeah.
He's since been loaned back. I think he's ended up at Wolves or something, but at this point, he was unbelievable, honestly. Probably the best player I'd seen in the flesh up to this point. They're passing is off the park. They're dominant in the air. They're unbelievable, and you just don't think it's your day. I think we get the second half. They're knocking the ball about, and the boy just puts it in the bottom corner for outside the box as well. And Alan McGregor's just in the quicksand. Like, he can do absolutely nothing about it. And then Mr. Yanis Hadji steps up, didn't he? Yanis steps up. Joe Aribo ends up coming off the bench.
Aribo at left back.
And ends up at left back. Amazing, mate. Amazing. Hadji scores the first one. Comes into his left foot. Puts it in. Makes it 2-1. At this point, no, Rangers have been getting absolutely dominated, man. Absolutely. Second one is your man Aribo with a mazy run. And he just puts it in. And then Hadji with a free kick. Wee bit of deflection. But the scenes were absolutely incredible. And then, obviously, to top it off in the next round, Ryan Kent scores and puts Rangers through to the last 16. So that was definitely mine in the flesh.
Was that the Ibrox baby? It's just different post-match. Yeah.
Aye, Andy came out with that. That he could sell one of our t-shirts with that slogan on it. I should have done that, man. We should have done that.
Yeah. Kieran Celtic says for Celtic, in terms of a win, they were 2-0 down against Shakhtar Karagandhi and aggregate won 3-0 at Parkhead for Champions League qualification. I think that was when James Forrest, I think, scored a cracker. And actually, one of the things about that Karagandhi game was that I'm sure they'd sacrificed a goat or something at the stadium in the away game. There was something nuts about that. But I might be talking shit here, but that definitely rings a bell. There was a sheep or a goat killed or something. He says also most underrated comeback for Celtic. 3-0 down at Kelly. Come back for a draw. Saved Lennon's job, but arguably where 9 in a row began. And it's the first time I've seen a Celtic fan refer to it as 9 in a row. I've never actually seen that. Normally it's just since it's not been the 10, I've not really seen it.
The COVID season.
Ryan, I love hearing that. Right, what else have I got? I'll see if I've got a couple more. You know what I'm also worried about is I've got a wee quiz for you, right? But I've got half of a quiz, so I might need to pass to you. I might need to pass to you in a minute for a chat while I try and come up with a fucking rest of a quiz. Christopher Dodds, a Morton fan, says Morton were 2-0 down with 5 minutes to play against AR, 1-3-2 with the same move every time. But he doesn't tell me what the move was, which is a bit annoying. And then finally, I'll jump on Instagram. Adam, have you come up with anything yet? No, or are you just...
No, I mean, I've not got a best one per se, but I did think, talking about the COVID season there, the one that I was probably most surprised at was that COVID Cup final, because Celtic battered us that first half, and it could have been genuinely 5-6.
And that so shite that season as well.
Yeah, exactly. That just came out of nowhere. That's the most surprised I think I've ever been. And then to obviously lose it in the way that we did is just the biggest kick in the nads ever. So
did Craigie Whiting not score that day? Am I making that up?
No, he scored in the semi against Hibs, I believe.
Hibs, that's
right. I don't think he scored in the final.
He was playing off the left, which was just, to think about that now, is just mental to me. One on Instagram, it's from a Falkirk fan. I might as well give them something since I don't do it very often. He says Falkirk 3-2 against Hibs and against Rangers in the Peter Houston area of the Championship. There was that weird period of time where Falkirk kept, Falkirk Stadium kept winning big games late on. That was a really weird... That was probably the best Championship there ever was. Because that was that would have been Rangers
14-15.
And Hibs.
The quality was probably...
that was a
Falkirk
comeback.
probably would have won that. That's a mental thing. They probably would have won that league comfortably in any other normal circumstance.
I think we're Queen of the South not also pushing for playoffs at that point.
Aye, because they had Derek Lyle up front and he scored
yeah.
against Rangers, mate. Honestly.
Yeah,
The
last home game, I think we trailed Rangers 2-0, came back for a 2-each draw on Trophy Day, but that's as far as other comebacks go. I cannot think of any. Cammy Anderson actually messaged me, Dave, to say that he missed the game on Saturday, but Parr's 5-4 win over Stenhousemuir is the best I've seen in the flesh.
So I was just going to bring that one up to round it up. So here's the story with this one.
Perfect.
I think the Dunfermline were 4-2 down with 5 minutes to go at Steny, and I think loads of Parr's fans had left. The 4-2 down with 5 to go, and they end up winning 5-4. But the funniest thing about this is when we had Jim Jeffries in charge, right? So Dunfermline score the 5th to make it 5-4 from 4-2 down with like 5 minutes to go. Everyone's just going mental, absolute pandemonium. Apart from Jim Jeffries, who'd grabbed our young centre half, Kerr Young, and was just giving him the biggest bollocking you've ever seen for not tracking his man at the corner beforehand. No wonder he had a dodgy ticker because he was going fucking mental, and he just won 5-4. So that was utterly bizarre. Right, I've got a bit of a quiz. Let's kick it off, shall we? I mean, this is why I don't fucking do the quizzes. I take part. Dev, you're back. Do you want to go first or second? I'll just let you choose, mate.
I'll go first.
Right, I'm mixing this up with some old questions from fucking years ago and some 2022 questions, right? So Dev's gonna go first. Yeah.
Is it 2023?
No, because we've only had 2 fucking months. There's not much to be. I mean, I might come up with one as we go along because I still don't think I've got 5 each, but we'll find out. Right, Adam would have loved this question. I think he would have got this right. So it's a multiple choice, Dev. Who was the Scottish Championship's top scorer in 21-22? Was it Brian Graham? Was it Michael McKenna? Or was it Kyle Lafferty?
21-22. So that was last season. McKenna?
Yeah, it was Mikey McKenna. Well done.
He was flying.
He was flying indeed. Right, Adam, for you. Celtic trounced Dundee United 9-0 early on the season. But who didn't score? Jota, Carl Starfelt, or Georgios Giacomakis? One of those 3 didn't score. Who was it?
Giacomakis?
It was Georgios Giacomakis. Well done. That's clever. Right, Dev, on to you.
My father-in-law had 10-0 Kyogo first goal at 5,000 to 1.
Holy
my
shit.
God.
Why would you put money on that?
Don't know.
What did he stick on it?
A fiver.
Oh my God.
A fiver on 10-0 first scorer. Did Kyogo score first out of interest?
Aye.
Oh my God.
You'd be brilliant. I'd be DMing all the players and tell them you owe me. And just because surely they'd get a
That's enough to make you chuck betting, really, isn't it? That is just the ultimate Judaism.
Right.
And never get a cash out either.
Oh,
disgusting.
Dev, how many SPFL stars were at the World Cup in Qatar? Was it 12, 13, or 14?
That's so close. It's so close, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, mate.
Half the Hearts team were there. It'd be daft for me to sit here and go through them, wouldn't it? But 14 seems a bit high. I'm going to go 12.
It was 12. Well done, son. Don't ask me who they were because I don't have a clue. And it's actually you're unlucky that you picked this because there was the next question you would have probably got. So here's it's because it's Rangers themed. Adam, and it's for you. You might know this. Which Brazilian club did Michael Beale coach at? Was it Corinthians, Sao Paulo, or Flamengo?
Sao Paulo.
It was Sao Paulo. I didn't know that. I was completely, new to me. Did not have a clue.
Got to check the CV, Davey boy.
Dev, back to you. It's question 3. At least I've got 3 each for you sorted, and I'm scrambling. Right. How many League One sides have artificial pitches this season? Is it 6, 7, or 8?
Oh, firstly, I've got to say either one of the answers is outrageous. It shouldn't be that high. Right, you've got. Who have you got? Clyde? No, wait. Aye, they're playing at Hamilton, aren't they? So, Clyde.
Shouldn't be saying anything.
Alloa.
This is just name the.
Can I pull the teams up?
No, can you fuck? You should have just. I mean,
Yeah,
if you're not saying it.
Grass.
I like the depth that he's taking, though. I've got to respect it.
Have got grass. Dunfermline have got grass. Mini Moon too. So Falkirk there, Astro, that's free. God, I've done well to even get 16 teams.
You done
Kelty, they're Astro, aren't they? That's 4.
Your counting's pish, I'll put that for you.
Is it?
Yeah.
6.
Right, is it 6, 7, or 8? Come on, I'm gonna have to hurry you. It is not. It is 8. There are 8 Astro pitches. Dunfermline and Peterhead are the only 2 to have grass.
80% of the league are artificial pitches.
Yep. Airdrie do, Kelty do, Alloa do, Montrose do, Clyde play at Hamilton, Falkirk do, Queen of the South are also plastic. So, yeah, it's a bit of a shambles. But yeah, so I've completely forgotten what the score was. But so I'm relying on you.
That means it's still 2 each.
I can nick it.
Right. We're going to go to. Is it you next, Adam? Is it? Yeah.
Yes.
Right. This is an interesting one. You're relying a lot on the multiple choice. How many days was Jack Ross in charge at Dundee United?
Oh.
Was it 71, 82, or 93?
It's a hard question.
Jesus. 71, 82 or 93 were those options, yeah.
That was the option, sir.
Oh my God.
Give us your thinking.
93 days is what, 3 months? So it can't be as long as that.
Well, when did he get a point? Let's think about this. When did he get a job?
Let him think about this.
No.
Actually, we use this time to find more questions.
Oh my God.
Well, he got appointed in the August and he get sacked in the August, so you do the maths.
Shut up, mate. If something telling me 82, less than 12 weeks. Yeah, I'll go 82.
82, it was. Let me find my answers. I think it was 71, mate.
Aye, 71.
It was 71 for Jack Ross. Right, Deb, we're going back in time a little bit now. Okay, we're going to, and this is really going to test you. If I've lost the question. Okay, right, yes. Who was due to manage Scotland at the 1958 World Cup but had to withdraw? Now, there's some logic to this if you use your brain.
The 1958 World Cup?
1958 World Cup. Who was due to manage Scotland but had to withdraw?
Matt Busby?
It was Matt Busby. Correct.
Come on!
Unbelievable knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, see, if you thought about it, I thought you would get it. Right, Adam, you should get this. Who's the only Scottish player? Who's the only Scottish player to have won the Ballon d'Or? A bit of a disgrace.
The lawman, Dennis Law.
It was the lawman, Dennis Law.
Oh my God, I nearly said King Kenny, Jesus.
So that's 4 questions each, isn't it? And so what is the score?
3 each.
3 each. Christ, I'm gonna have to find a fucking tiebreaker. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. We're still back in time, right? We're going to 1981, Dev, right? And the Scottish Player of the Year award was awarded to which Partick Thistle player in 1981?
Are you kidding me on?
No. It's
1981.
Yeah, Partick Thistle.
Partick Thistle player.
Partick Thistle legend.
I'm not going to get this, mate.
You got any idea, Adam?
I'm guessing, but I haven't the foggiest, if I'm honest.
A Partick Thistle legend.
Hey, right, I'm gonna give you a clue because it is tough. He was in the Scotland squad for the World Cup in '78. He also played for Hibs at one point.
Alan Ruff.
It was Alan Ruff. Well done.
Come on! There we go!
Oh, God. Dev actually deserves this. He's pulling some in the bag here.
I've actually 2 outrageous answers the last 2.
Right, this is a cracking question here. If I can just find the fucking answer.
It's better be a hard one.
I know I thought these were going to absolutely stump you, and you've done really well. Right, Adam. Only 2. Sir. Oh no, I'm not giving you that one. You know that one too easy, so I'm taking it back to me. We've done that one before. See, I was gonna ask you a question about Scottish players that have played in the Champions League winning final, and we've done that before. Paul Lambert, Andy Robertson, we've done that before. Right. What these questions are fucking ridiculous. Okay, hold on. Give me a second here, right? Give me a second.
We need Matthew Duff Enterprises back on this.
I know. Okay, here's one. Okay. Which club is the only club in Scotland not to contain any letters from the word football in its name. There's one in Scotland that doesn't contain any letters from the word football in its name. I got you thinking.
Jesus.
And give me some fucking time so I get Dev's next question.
Oh my God.
But
What-
if he doesn't
what,
get
in-
it, I think I've won.
In the SPFL?
Yeah, in the 42.
In the 42?
There's only one club that doesn't have any letters from the word football.
This is the most random question I've ever heard of. Oh my God.
I said Dev to fucking 1958. I've got to make it kind of tough for you.
I know, but he's pulled it in the bag. Maybe this is just an envy thing, because nothing's happening when the cogs are turning here. Oh, God almighty.
Right, go through the leagues then. Go through the
Eight.
leagues. Let's hear your thinking. Go through the leagues.
Oh, Christ.
No, yeah.
No, but like every club has to be football club, surely.
No. Obviously, I mean, like, that would ruin the question, though, wouldn't it? I mean, for God's sake.
This is killing me. Oh, God.
I can't even think of one team now.
There is only one.
This is a shafted of monumental proportions here.
Are you wanting to know
man.
the answer, Adam?
No.
He's a guess at least.
We're assuming that the football club doesn't. They're all FC, right? Rather than so obviously that doesn't count. And the FC doesn't. The F for football doesn't count, right? So okay, I'll give you a clue. It's a championship team. There you go. Fuck me, there's only 10 of them, Adam.
No, I know, but part of me wants to say either Cove Rangers or Queen's Park, but
it doesn't have a letter from the word football.
Oh my God! Right,
And you're gonna give me Cove Rangers.
Hold on.
Just say the answer.
You want the answer?
Yeah, just give me it.
The answer is Dundee. Dundee are the only team.
Oh my
They don't have a
God!
letter.
And it has to be Scotland.
Yeah, and you giving me Cove Rangers, who had like O and A both in there. And
No, I know. I
Queen's
just,
Park
I
and
don't. I don't know. Fuck this, mate.
well, that's that. That's handed down. I feel like I have screwed you a little bit there. Yeah, I feel a bit bad now. But Dev's
it's
first
all right,
show
mate.
back.
Dev deserved that, given he pulled, the
Right,
rabbit.
Dev, you've got a question in your face. Come on, hit me with it.
I might sound absolutely stupid here, but what about Dundee United?
D.
yeah.
Oh no, there's no D in football. There's a T. There's a T.
Oh, so
Honestly, that scrambled my brain, man.
I was starting to forget the names of every club. I was like, that's an absolute shambles. We shouldn't. I was just thinking of it as see over every show we've ever done. There's been people who've made absolute arse of themselves in the quizzes, and it's normally me. Like whenever you used to ask me to count, I would always make a complete tit of it. I remember once I said there was like 10,000 goals in the group stages of the Euros or something like that. And then what was it? What was the one where Adam, McCall, and Craig? Who was it you said?
Callum said Inverness is the most non-Premiership club to have won the most Scottish Cups.
He said it was
And he said
Inverness.
fucking
They've only ever won.
Inverness. I was
They've
thinking
only ever
back
won
to one of the ones that we did, and Scotland played Ukraine, and Dave was going to say that it was 72,000 days ago or whatever it was.
Yeah, my maths was never my strong point ever. Yeah, we'll probably wrap it up there. Unless there's anything else you think we need to cover.
I'm too tired for this shit. Let's wrap this up.
I know. Okay, right. We'll leave it there. Yeah, thanks everyone for watching. We've got some sponsorship news to announce for the next episode. Keep an eye on the social media. We're back soon, of course. Well, I say of course, but who knows what that. Yeah, we'll see you all next time. Thanks very much for watching. Cheers.